wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of Iraq. Of Ukraine.
Wars have been fought over oil. In a short matter of time, they will be fought over war.
Oh, fuck, what number is it? We're back. What number? 45?
Number one on season 2.
Season 2, number 1. Easy. Simple. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
We're back.
That's it.
Yeah.
Beginning season 2 of ManCon. I've come back with fresh perspective from the Japanese Empire. And also I is getting a new perspective on the leader of the free world, Claudia Sheinbaum. God, and she's so cool.
People's political project that is Mexico.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize this. I actually brokered the Japan, China, South Korea deal when I was over there.
And I think the world appreciates that. Yeah.
Do what I can.
Looking for, some actual, regional power and international stability. Something that America only lied about. Within the day, you're able to just broker that type of deal, and it's fantastic.
We'll get into like all the specifics of what I was able to do there in a little bit, but first of all, we're back, baby. It's Lucid Fox on all the things for now. All the places, Twitch, and all the seedy underbelly parts of the internet too.
Yes, and while leftism is still allowed to be talked about, Marcus from Struggle 4 on Twitch and the YouTubes and all the things. And that's the thing, we are in the, waiting to get black bagged. If you've ever said a kind word of Karl Marx as type of vibe here.
It's so cool. I like how people are getting like held in the airport now if they have ever said that Teslas look stupid or whatever. It's pretty cool,
I only can say Tesla because if we say it correctly, then the FBI just immediately starts listening in on whatever
your
you're talking
Alexa
about.
Starts getting a red hunter killer circle. Stay where you are.
Yeah. For some reason they get just project video and it's just Kash Patel's crazy eyes just staring at you.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I was telling you earlier, Japan really did give me some perspective on how much this fucking place sucks. I mean, you say whatever you want, you're just vacationing, etc., but no, even then, they get creature comforts over there. At least there's a soda machine every block, man. Why don't we have that? That soda's 60 cents still over there. It's why don't we have at least that? Give me that, and I can forget about how dog shit American Empire is for a second. They still got cigarette machines over there, Marcus. It's crazy.
Oh, freedom! We used to have a country.
They still. Do you know what? Let me tell you about the most amazing thing. So there is a Starbucks kind of in Japan. It's called Doutor, Doutor. First of all, coffee's great. And they also have little snacks and everything. But there's something that sets Doutor apart. They have an edict about their brand that each one of their locations must also contain a smoking room. Every single one. So every time a new one opens, sliding glass door straight into the smoking room in the back of it.
Incredible.
Yeah. America
Incredible.
could never. America has like fucking whimsy about the days when that was still possible, but
we're toast now. You know what I'm saying? We're just absolute toast.
it's crazy, you know.
Although that does remind me of like the Vegas airport.
Yeah. No,
They
but
have
these
little,
actually have filtration, unlike the Vegas airport.
Oh, yeah.
The Vegas airport, every time you open it, there's just like a cloud, you know, of miasma that comes out. Yeah.
It's like
I've smoked in that Vegas airport back when I was a smoker, you know. No, something like they actually have like good filtration, everything. Like you can't even tell there's a smoking section.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Well,
it's crazy.
no, that's not how we live. But no, you know, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Mexico City. I saw a politics I could only dream of.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to spread the good word
Nice.
of dear leader Claudia Sheinbaum. La Presidenta sends her regards to the people of the United States.
I will fight in her army if she asks.
She's just waiting for us to, you know, topple the government, and you know we'll start like the new American century in the real true sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and so the reunification of Mexico, one of her projects that I'm wholeheartedly excited for.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Taking
and then we'll
Texas
get this. And more, baby.
Yeah. Good. As it should be.
Yes.
Get ready to learn Spanish, buddy. All right. Sorry, Jace Lee of Houston. You're gonna have to figure out how to speak. You're gonna have to figure out how to order your fucking food in Spanish now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Brendan. You know.
you could feel free to run to Maine. You know, that might be like the only safe territory.
Yeah.
You know?
Like it's time. It begins.
But no, that's, I mean, like you mentioned, you know, like the trains in Japan, you know, are, I think are pretty much famous, you know, like, you know, people understand, you know, but, I mean, yeah, that's just the, you know, like the public transportation, even in Mexico City, is like something that like coming from Columbus, Ohio, is like we can't have this at least, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we can't at least have like this.
Yeah.
But they've got so many different versions, you know what I'm saying? Like they've got a subway, they've got a few different types of buses, and they've got this like cable bus that'll take you up in the sky. they're you know, and literally there is like zero rail. There's no passenger rail in Columbus, Ohio at all.
Yeah.
No city stuff. Amtrak doesn't stop in Columbus.
Too much freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Ford really fucked with Columbus, you know what I'm saying? The car industry really did a number on this city that it's like literally never returned to.
Yeah. Like it's wild to see like how much like that, like that's what I was stricken with coming back, is just like how much corporations actually revile this place, you know? Like at least again, you know, like you can find a soda machine every block in Japan, right? Because like the corporations are wholeheartedly just like invested in like getting people to be, you know, consumers and drink more of their delicious sodas. But here it's just like, no, I wish you would choke. All right. I wish you would fucking fall over so somebody can step over you, get the next like drink. OK.
Yeah, no, it's like you have to subject yourself to at least 3 close calls with death in order to to traverse the distance in order to have the privilege of purchasing that soda.
It's crazy, man. It's just, you know, it's a very a very antagonistic relationship with the consumer here in the United States. Like I get it now. It's crazy like what this country is actually kind of fucking subjected to comparative to other places that just have like actual infrastructure. They have actual, you know, the food prices that don't number in the, like I got 2 bags of groceries today for $100. It's like, I didn't get anything crazy, produce and, canned goods.
4 eggs.
Yeah, like it's just, I don't know what to tell you about this place, but it ain't doing so hot. And that's before, remember, very important, Marcus, it's Tariff Eve, baby.
Liberation Day Eve. It's called Liberation Day. We are going to rid ourselves from this albatross around our neck called the stock market. And
get it out of here.
It's got to be burnt down to the ground in a very, very painful fashion.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting. I can't wait to see how tariffs manifest in the dumbest ways possible.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that so we are recording this on Liberation Day Eve, and April Fool's Day, which seems more like a annual but just disposition for the United States, and not just some joke holiday or whatever.
A day, truly a day for corporations to test pilot their new nostalgic machinations that they'll eventually get consumers to buy into.
Yeah. And so tomorrow, supposedly, Trump is going to roll out these lists of tariffs. That's going to be different country by country. In some cases, different by manufacturing sector. It's hard to say. No, literally, they have been. There's no specifics. There's just Trump saying things. Yeah. Everybody assuming that there is some type of list that they're going to release tomorrow, and I we'll see. We'll see. What actually tariffs are, which ones are actually applied, or. And where, and then there's going to be the response from those countries with their own tariffs. And then depending on which of those make a news story, Trump is just going to start saying more tariffs for them. Yeah. And we'll see Liberation Day.
It's so cool.
Let's go.
I said this morning. He's operate. Like, I think what happened was in his first 4 years, and this is just kind of like the blueprint of his personality, like writ large, where like he does things that are like half thought out, and then people criticize it for it. So he doubles back and he's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna do extra. I'm gonna do the best actually. To prove them fucking wrong, because he has such a, very like fragile ego. And I think so he did that. Like in his first 4 years, people like sat down, they were like, Trump's economic policies, just kind of okay. Could have been a lot better. And he was like, all right, fine. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to study these presidents that came before me. What was Andrew Jackson up to? And it's like, oh yeah. But his brain can't conceive that these are like obsolete trade policy. This is like pre-neoliberalism. Like these things don't like this is not an isolationist like economy any longer, right? You can't just like sit down and say, all right, well, tell you what, Britain, we're gonna start engaging tariffs on some of like the tea that's going to you. Like that's not how one exists in the global market any longer.
If you give us any guff, we're gonna throw it in the harbor.
Right? It's just like you just can't fucking do that anymore, man. I mean, you can, and a lot of countries are gonna just tell you to fuck off. Or Claudia Sheinbaum would be like, oh, well, yeah, I'll make a deal with you, and then just fuck you over in the deal, like give you an objectively worse deal because you decided to like come to her with it.
And that's like the thing where through this Claudia Sheinbaum, and this is also with like the predecessor AMLO. Yeah, like it's like Trump whisperers.
Yes,
there's like they're able to like just like call up Trump and play some sort of like salsa music or some shit that just calms the savage beast. And
I love it. It's great.
It seems like. Yeah, and that's like when it comes to Canada, he might have just hated Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
Like he,
Absolutely.
and maybe like something happened with Melania or whatever the fuck, but like as soon as Trudeau
raised her up a little bit,
yeah, like and with Mike Carney, there's been less of like the I don't know, he just talks shit less about Mark Carney than he did about Trudeau. But that's the thing, is that even it is like there was an ability that for Scheinbaum and AMLO to just like do some Trump whisperer shit, and then with Canada, he's there is still a lot of like, oh, they're taking advantage of us and blah 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 blah. So much of this is on the trade deals like that Trump negotiated whatever in the first term. And when you talk about like tariffs, on like, oh, the cars that are coming in to America, but like, like these things are now internationally integrated. Yeah. So while they're saying, the cars coming out of the States are going to be tariffed, well, so many cars that are quote built in the States are going to be tariffed as well, because the parts that they're made out of come from other countries.
I mean, this is why people like Sean Fain were kind of like, just the UAW at large was, initially like making a lot of discussion about these tariffs, because they're going to get fucked over in like these ventures, Yeah.
And that's like, you see like Sean Fain making these like lukewarm gestures to tariffs would be good if. Yes. Right. And no one pays attention to the if portion of the sentence. Trump is just like, even Sean Fain, he didn't like me. He loves me now because he loves tariffs. Best word. It's like, no, that's not exactly what he was saying. And like from like a UAW, from, a manufacturing perspective, NAFTA was a thing, the carve out of, the manufacturing base, and like the consolidation of that kind of complex manufacturing that is for automobiles and so many other, things like that got, spread across the world. And you can't just turn it back over day. It's not like inviting someone in for dinner, right? Like these things take time, and like even with so many of these like chips and all the manufacturing and like the CHIPS Act, these projects are like it takes time, and especially when tornadoes and shit quickly. You got all of these storms and all, what I'm saying, like it's like that, like you can't do these things overnight. Yeah. And when he's asked about like, oh, hey, the car manufacturers seem concerned, Trump responds like, well, I gave him a month.
Amazing. It's just,
like, what?
Like we built our entire economy out away from, because here's the thing. Like we used to have a more manufacturing like friendly economy back in the day, right? Like we were a powerhouse of manufacturing at one point in history. And this is why, like, you would look at certain, cities and see like these miasmas of pollution and everything like that. That doesn't so much exist as much anymore, because we have shipped those things, like we've taken those externalities and we have placed them in other countries, like there's like famously there's a fucking town in China that we fucking ruined and is just like choked by chemical fog because like that place only just like makes fucking Christmas trees every year. You know what I mean? Like we've shipped all of these like production avenues out, like because that is what like part of that is because that's what is necessitated by neoliberalism, right? Like we created like a manufacturing like circle, so that all of these things, like we ship to this place like starts to put it together. They ship those like partially made things somewhere else, and it comes back to us eventually, right? Like, and through that process, so many different components are just made elsewhere now. And like, we're not going to turn back that clock and bring those things back here. Like, that's just it. So yeah, you can put tariffs on fucking like China, but good luck. Like they make like, 80% of the necessary components for like the thing that you end up manufacturing in the States still.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and that is gonna like rear its head very quickly.
And even like some of the basic structures of the United States going from a oppression and subjugation of the territories that have the raw materials, those being brought, and then going from from scratch to make the produce. This is now, like you're saying, this is now China.
Yes.
where like something that China internationally does is like, no, allow for these developments of the raw materials. And this is the thing that, like, especially like Lumumba, like, and so, like so many like African leaders that start getting to the, how do we, enrich ourselves with the, with the resources that we have here?
Correct, yeah.
It's taking that thing from the raw material to the initial stage, at the very least, for however that thing is like actually utilized in manufacturing. And so, yeah, it's that all of this is gone. There's really no leverage outside of like 800 military bases that the United States has.
Right, that's it.
And
we're
supply
weakening that
chains.
power as well.
and like every second we, because like that's with Trump at that point, it's like all this like boom and bluster, like that's all they got. And like, yeah, and I think it's as Liberation Eve is sets in, you've got, China, Japan, and South Korea, the Republic of Korea, are now joining forces to respond to the tariffs in
the scars of Japanese imperialism finally healing because of Donald Trump.
He's a great peacemaker, folks.
We finally, and again, like, make no mistake, like, we were like one of the main pressure points on this partnership, like, not happening over the past like fucking 70 plus
100%.
years. Like, that we had a deep vested interest in this not occurring.
Yeah, no, and that's and that across the world, it was like, especially right when it comes to Japan, when it comes to South Korea, Australia, like so much of the United States and Philippines, so much of the United States foreign policy is attempting to turn China into the regional enemy.
Yes,
and in the Pacific. And yeah, what I'm saying, just one introduction of Liberation Day, and some of it's like, at this point, it's like the dominoes are falling pretty fucking quickly, and yeah, like this, where it's like you're gonna either be on the inside or the out, and more and more countries are gonna see the writing on the wall, and this is kind of something I saw was like, holy crap, this is like a big thing in the international sense, and especially when you talk about the Japanese Empire and some of the things that are still not recognized, getting to this stage seemed like a monumental hill to get over, but also very, very inevitable based off of the United States and Trump's actions.
Yeah, I don't know, it's very interesting for him to, like, jokes aside, like, it is a huge step for these countries to come together and say, sorry, we can't fucking trust you people anymore, and we are going to institute regional trade. Like, we are going to start like working the mechanisms ourselves. This is like, wish it was any different, but if you want to like start like sitting around having these trade wars. Because that's the other thing, like, even if he rolls back like these tariffs, you've already broke the trust at this point, man. Like, you've let the cat out of the bag, and like going to partner nations, like nations that have always like sat, in our fucking shadow and had our back on the world stage. And you're just like, all right, time to pay up, buddy. And it's like, they pay in fealty. Have you never looked upon the royal courts in the fucking like days of nights in Europe? Like that's when you say, especially there's more than just gold, sir.
When you talk about Japan, like you're like, there's a good fucking like third of the like Navy and Marine Corps.
Yeah.
That is just seated in that country. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
They're not our enemy. Like this is, and doing this type of shit, which, the United States destabilizing the Japanese economy, nothing new. But that's the thing, is like, they're going to scratch their head and say, let's maybe not fall for this one again when the economy's already in the shitter. You know what I'm saying? There's just something has to give.
And especially when there is viable options at this point, because like, maybe you were able to do this like 30, 40 years ago when China was still just a manufacturing production powerhouse, right? But now they also possess a consumer class, right? Like now they are a rich nation, and they are not going back on that. Like there is no backsliding. Like they are coming into what will be like the Chinese century. Yeah. So just what are you going to do when you have other countries that can now at some point supplant you as like the global hegemon, right? Like, yeah, sure, you'll hold on for a while with your military bases. Absolutely. But at some point, like, if you can't manage out that trade deficit, if you can't outpace China in the, like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna fucking like start attacking them? Because otherwise there is no way to outpace like what's on the way. Your economy will get outpaced by China at some point, and that point is rapidly approaching.
I mean, that's like where, based off of, and this is just based off of stability. That's where, like the corporations, the manufacturing bases, like the stability is a necessity.
Yes.
Like just like trade deals that you can rely on. Mm-hmm. You produce this, send it there, you get this in return, and those parties following that, it's just a necessity. And it's someone, like really, it's like you have to be either ridiculously propagandized like most Americans, or just a fool to think that there's a way out of this for the United States while Donald Trump is president. Yeah. We're month 3.
Yeah.
And like we got a long fucking way to go. Yeah. And I mean, like, and my attitude is because, like, especially all of the stuff that he says during campaigns, it's like the countries should have been preparing, and they should prepare for more destabilization. Well, like some of these European countries, some of these Japan, like, you should be thinking about what happens on these military bases. Right?
I would say they have been preparing, though. Like I don't if I'm being honest with you, I don't think this Pacific Alliance comes out of nowhere. I think this is probably this has been a discussion point for months and months amongst top like Chinese, Korean, and Japanese diplomats to say what is our response. Last year Trump on the campaign trail talking about like tariffs. I think a lot of countries sat down and they were like, all right, well, what are we going to fucking do about this? Because
it seems Canada didn't see this coming.
Well, Canada, a little snoozing, taking a little nap.
Yeah. But no, that's like, I'd say, I agree with that. And, it was like from the Chinese perspective, like of like you people, it's like, and that's where it's like, it says like the white countries, the West. And really, it's
your
like,
enemies
it kind of
continue
makes
to make
sense.
mistakes, man.
Well, yeah, but that's where with Canada, with like all of Europe, so, Trump's got a lot of smoke for these countries, and, they're all like, well, what the fuck, bro? Because yeah, these are the closest allies and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, now where's the discussion? That's, I guess, where, I'm very curious as to see if the similar type of thing that happened with China and Japan and Korea, because it's just, yeah, there's so much further to go with Trump.
Time for Canada to finally take its seat in the EU. All right. It was always destined, go back to being a vassal state of France, and in doing so,
the Quebecois gets their way.
like they're not doing well with us. The Republic. I think
that's what it's like. Just like France needs to just like literally get over their racism and just ask Claudia Sheinbaum for help. Okay, it's like the EU isn't going to help you. Go to the Trump whisperer.
That's
okay,
true.
like just like
talk
what
to
are
the
you doing?
Experienced operators,
right? Like fucking learn something.
Sit down and listen.
Yeah, but that's with this it's like the Pacific Alliance, it's big thing, and it's only going to seemingly get more and more beneficial for not only China but the countries that are willing to just openly say, we're open to an actual stable nation to adhere to, and then hook our economy up to and move on from there. Because I mean, the countries that don't, what I'm saying? Like, they're not experiencing the things and upheavals and the back and forth and all this type of bullshit that the United States, the countries that are aligned with the United States do, especially at this point. And this is something that even goes back to Joe Biden, like the thing with AUKUS and that screwing over Macron and France with like this like billions of dollars of military equipment that they're planning on selling to Australia. And then Biden's like, not so fast, Jack. And so, and like, that's where it's like with Trump, why adhere towards, a country that's continuously fucking you over, even when it's the normal guy, and now that you have Trump and it's just, what the hell is this? Why stick around? It's month 3, right?
Well, and
we got a long way to go.
Again, I said this again this morning. Like, there is just no. When you mention Biden, I think that's important because there's some people that are like, well, this wouldn't have happened if the Democrats were in power, and yes, it would have. And I think there is, like, realistically, if we're talking specifically about China like moving forward, and for all intents and purposes, they will at some point like replace us as like the global superpower, unless we just go toys all in the toy box and throw a tantrum and destroy everything. Like they will, right? And so I don't think realistically any party in this country is equipped for that. Like, obviously Trump is accelerating it with things like tariffs, but I think even Kamala Harris had no real solution, for any of this, to kind of like supplant like what is going to happen. Like, these alliances that China is going to continue to, push into and continue to like supplant us as like a global partner. Like, there is no, like I said, there is no turning back like that switch for them. Like, they are set in motion at this point. And Trump is just like throwing some accelerant on it. But make no mistake, like, this was a thing that was coming down the pipe. Oh yeah, we have continued to be an unreliable trade partner despite who's in office. We have continued to fuck over these various parts of the world, and a lot of them realize that, and they're like, well, maybe not so much anymore. Maybe we don't need you.
Yeah, and I know, like, to your point, like Chad and Niger, they pushed out the U.S. military bases under Biden,
Yes.
Ivory Coast and I I can't even remember like the recent one, but it's like the same thing with France. You know, like there's so much of the world is already, you know, like rejecting, you know, U.S. and Western, you know, like hegemony, and in a very forward facing, open way.
Yes.
You know, like get the hell out of here, you suck. These military bases aren't doing us any fucking good, and so. Bye, right? And then either like China or Russia are like swooping in, or
Right.
you know, Chinese business and economics, and then like Russian military to support, you know, whatever their goals and stuff are. And you know, and it's like that was under Biden, you know, and like like when you look at just China and like the past 20 fucking years. Yeah, you know, it's like this multipolarity has been, you know,
and
very open amongst the elite circles, you know, and it's just largely just rejected in the like the United States like mindset of like we're number one, you know, and it's like the world just is going along pretending that that's true,
right?
Even though we all know it's not.
Yeah, and again, China's going to double dip too with shit like USAID, man, because somebody has to step into that, and it is either going to be like those nations that are like left without aid to try to like work that for themselves, or other, you know, larger nations are going to step in and start providing like their own like programs, right? So like we are again just accelerating this downfall of American soft power and furthermore just like empire, like where we did have a toehold. And again, like there is historical precedent for this. Like most recently, you saw it with the British Empire over the past 200 years, right? Like as they started to lose all of their influence over these vassal states because they were unable to like serve any longer. And when they start retracting, other places, sometimes the United States, push in and start asserting their influence instead. We get to see that again, only it won't be the US this time.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned that, it's like the thing is like there's like the power projection, and then like there's like this type of thing that is just like service oriented, you know, and like Cuban doctors, you know, like deploying is like one thing, you know, and like this is where it's like there's a very like U.S. understanding of aid where it's only done in so much to influence people.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, and like and you know, we'll talk about Cory Booker, but Chris Coons, who's Delaware.
Chris Coons is
Delaware senator, right? I think. Connecticut or Delaware? I thought it was Delaware.
Is it?
He's
one of those two boring goddamn.
I thought he was the one that took over after Biden moved up to VP. Either way, he's there talking and he's helping out Cory Booker do his little thing, and
he is Delaware. Yeah. I'm thinking of the other idiot in Connecticut. Yeah, well, keep going.
There's plenty around, but no, he's describing this thing that we're talking about, where he's upset. Oh, I watched the news and I was just so upset because these earthquakes, you know, are going on, and it was Chinese workers,
incredible, that
were pulling people out of the rubble, and it's like it wasn't lily white Americans doing it or some shit like that. And he's like, but he's describing this thing of like, well, we can't even fake help people to show we're good. you know, like that's all, you know, like they're really in it for. And you know, it's just this very, very pathetic thing of like, we can only help it in the way of like, we're going to get something out of it. Right? This is how we keep like a control over people.
Yeah, because I have heard a lot of people saying, well, there is like some genuinely good things that USAID does in these people that need help. And it's like, yes, but we are not doing that because that is what is like, we're not doing that because those people need help. We're doing that because we sense a weakness that we can exploit as a more powerful nation. Like we are not there. Sorry, but there is no good U.S. aid, because those are services that should exist in those and can exist in those places in that power vacuum when we pull out. Now, who will refill them? The best option is for that to take place in its own nation, right? That's probably not what's going to happen. It's probably going to be someone like China. But like the best possible outcome would be for them to have those things in place. But we have taken those places. Again, the most famous example, obviously Haiti. We have gone to those places and destroyed any infrastructure that they could use for those relief efforts, and instead taken and put our own there so that we could loot, pillage, and otherwise like shape their destiny.
Yeah.
You know, there is no good U.S. aid. That is still a tip of violence that we use in affecting change and like their very like structures of government.
And I think like Haiti is a perfect example, and so much of the global South, especially or so much of like when South America, or Central and South America is. Where do they get their guns?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because like this is where it's like there's all this type of food aid that can be sent over, but where do the gangs in Haiti get their guns? Where do, MS-13 and the Sinaloa cartel, you know what I'm saying? Where do they get their guns?
How did this happen? Just by magic. Same place that people in Chicago do. They just manifest out of a fucking portal, you know?
Yeah. There's just, you get these dang liberals creating weak men. Weak men create violent gangs that put fentanyl in our water, you know?
One too many all-gender bathrooms, and then all of a sudden... You know?
Yeah. This type of benevolence of like, oh, we're here to help, you know. Yeah. It's been a complete lie. It's been this like icing on a poisoned cake. And like once it goes away, and and that's where like there's it's like I don't want to like ever put it in the thing of like every country acts in this manner, every country's other decisions act in this manner, but it is just a true result of, what I'm saying?
Yes.
That it makes a difference, and that's, like if you're in your worst spot ever, what I'm saying? If you're one of these like people who've had, surviving this earthquake, which is just, somebody like it's crazy. That was it's just so much fucking destruction. And like the logo on the jacket, for that outstretched arm that's pulling you out of that rubble, you're never gonna forget it. And so like that type of effort, those types of actions, they do make a very, very significant difference. And like you said, I agree with it. It's like an engine in space, right? Where you're without any resistance of gravity, like it's not only keeping you at that speed, it is perpetually making you go faster and faster and faster. And like, Trump is doing that with like, it's like the end of empire speed run, where all of the mannerisms, waiting on the military, but all these other mannerisms in which, U.S. inflicted influence, whether it was through trade policy or whether it's through these aid groups and stuff like that. Voice of America,
free Radio Asia.
He's just setting fire to all these things. And like, well, we understand of like, Radio Free Asia shit is these like, U.S. hegemon outreach. The thing that where people in these countries see is literally their countrymen just complain about being fired from their job by Trump.
Yeah. And
like, it's like, so it's this twofold thing of you're losing that type of influence, but then also it's like a spit in the eye to those people from the United States perspective. And where are we going to be next week? You know what I'm saying? Like the DMZ is going to be taken down, the reunification of the Korean Peninsula.
Let's go.
Anything's on the table at this point.
Anything's possible. Finally.
like China and fucking
Time for some
India
real
to
Juche
normalize
thought to
relations.
reemerge, baby.
Yeah,
And again, like, I don't know. I argue with some, I've taken sport in just arguing with weird liberals on social media the past couple of weeks. But like, somebody was like, well, North Korea is synonymous with like, dictators and evil. And it's like, brother, you're like, again, you're coming from American Empire. Like, you ask the South Korean people, I think last poll, like 80% of them like have at least a somewhat favorable view of North Korea. Like, you don't know what's going on over there. What happens when we pull out influence? Like, realistically, when we stop stirring the kettle, what occurs over there? You're not to say, and I don't know either. But I can assure you it's probably not what you've dreamed up in your fucking like South Park fantasy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like the idea that like every person in like South Korea just like wakes up and then like, says the American Pledge of Allegiance or some shit. It's just such a fucking silly thing, and especially when like you got the president that was just impeached and like trying to do all this coup and shit like that,
and replaced by another president that was removed for corruption. like South Korea is really doing it right, man.
Yeah. It's like the idea that like the world is and like these are like Biden invited him to the like he invited him to the White House. He had him sing karaoke. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, these people are being toppled and pushed out and told to go fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like this idea that like this United States vision of how the world works, it's like maybe, like never really existed, but it's definitely been dead for, some time. And it's just continuously, hopefully ripping the veil off for people to understand. But I think the big fear is though, that is like, what is the flicker of, the flame, before it goes out? Yeah. And honestly, and this is, like when you're just joking about, like getting into, but like, I think this is one of the, should be one of these core focuses of any type of left movement in the United States is pacifying, doing everything we can to pacify the United States response to a multipolar world and China as the global hegemon, because we can't allow war to continue to just like destroy so many regions of the world, and knowing like even in self-preservation, what I'm saying, the chickens always come home to roost.
Yeah, it's as you said, month 3, man. I guess we're gonna see how much this dynamo can just like rip itself apart in the next couple of years. Also mass layoffs beginning today as well. Like not just tearing apart international efforts, by frustrating trade and removing things like USAID. Also destroying like domestic output in federal agencies. I think they said like 10,000 people today.
Yeah. Oh. Because it was like Health and Human Services, I think, was out of there. Like, and people don't understand that the government is the number one employer. I don't think most Americans have an understanding that the number one job organization in the United States and every other country, because this is how this shit works, is the government. Yeah. The government like is the entity that like allows our society to operate. Yeah. And so it's from, like roads and bridges and sewage and pipelines and like the regulation of all the industries, what I'm saying? And like this like it's the government, what I'm saying? Like that populates the Social Security and the VAs and all these type of places, the Forest Service. And that's where it's like these things are all over the country. This is not a DC thing. Government is everywhere. And with all these jobs layoffs, he's just absolutely destroying small town America, because New York City, they could lose, what I'm saying, Like New York City can lose a shit ton of federal government worker paychecks, and the city's still going to go along. Some of these towns that they are relying on the dozen people who make the 60 G's from the government to buttress all of the other poverty that exists or just lack there of economic movement. You know, they rely on these government jobs to have that for these towns to exist. I mean, hell, there's like the one spot in West Virginia where like a Treasury Department office is. It's damn near half of the jobs in that county are federal government jobs. That place is doomed.
Absolutely. Like it's, again, you know, like I'm not one to look at things in like that liberal like view where it's like, well, these people voted for this type of thing, because that's such a tortured way to understand like how any of this works. But it is very true that Trump is devastating a lot of his own base in doing this. You know, like he is going to be. Now, does that do anything to change like voting demographics moving forward? I have no idea, you know, but like he is doing this to his own people. Like these are very conservative areas. Like these people, these government workers that are getting fucking pink slips today, that are getting fired, like a lot of them are straight up fucking like Reagan Republicans, man.
Yeah.
You know, like
100%. I mean, like that's like with even like all these you know, like the Republican, I mean, the Democrats did like town halls. They get catches that spoke too, but like the Republicans are just getting their ass chewed. Yeah. And they're just, you know, they're like people like Mildred and Suzanne, who've been like fucking working at government agencies for like decades. And they're like, no, that's just some Antifa George Soros super soldier sent here by Nancy Pelosi to fuck with my town hall. And it's like, dog, y'all are missing it. And the thing is, and like what is true is that this does not necessitate Democratic victory in the future.
Absolutely not.
You know,
because these motherfuckers are doing nothing for these people either.
I mean, they'd like learn the lesson of the last election, where disillusioned people will just be disillusioned, and so that's what Trump is going to leave them on. The government, just everybody, like, and that's where it's like if you're already going to Trump, like. The old Democratic Party is probably, you know, like there's that understanding still stays.
When there's nothing coming from what is supposed to be the welfare party. So you go somewhere else to somebody that's straight up like the Joker that says, well, we're going to like reform it from new because those people are wrong. You really have nowhere left, you know, like these people aren't going to like suddenly be like,
And that's the couch wins. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole dynamic of, you know,
we finally hit the famed Chapo Trap House $50,000 voting or 50,000 voter voting election. You know, like no one votes anymore.
And I mean, it's like so many like the off year elections. You know, is like and like it's that you know. Where you could get like off year where people like 13% of the electorate, you know?
Yeah, dude.
And that's just going to continue on. So,
I mean, like Eric Adams is mayor of no one. He got voted in by, you know, barely 20% of the electorate.
Yeah.
You know, like these like people are just becoming more and more dissolute. Like I said, and as they should be. Like, again, circling all the way back around and coming back from somewhere like Japan, it's like at least they're robust. Like, and remember, the people in charge in Japan, this has been a right-wing party since its inception. They've been ruled by one party for over half a century, and it's always been a right-wing party. But they still understand that people need those bread and circuses. They need those creature comforts to still have a necessary buy-in to what happens in their fucking society. And we don't have that. You know, we've destroyed that in service of rugged individualism, you know, in service of like this tortured idea of an American dream. And as we continue, like every year, to destroy more and more social programs and more like, you know, soft landings that people could actually like have any way to like provide for themselves and their family, like we just have more people like tuning out. Like the democratic loss should be one that's understood as people just don't fucking like care about this country any longer, you know, because it's just not going to, you know, the Democrats have no vested interest in providing for them. The only thing Kamala Harris cares about is the most lethal military in the world. You know,
and the Bill Clinton, James Carville, like third way, like we'll just be Republican light, and that way no one will ever be mad at us. This politics sucks ass.
It's true.
It sucks shit since fucking, you know, like since, you know, Bill Clinton did it. The only reason Obama was able to like pull like a big majority in the first term is because he was viewed as a change agent.
Yes.
Right? Like that's where like the Obama's first win was because he was seen as the change agent.
Yes.
You know, not as the shepherd of neoliberal hellhole. Right? And like that's all the only thing that like has ever
you have
been
to tell
keeping
people
this.
there's something different. If you tell them, well, I'm just stopping the bad guy from coming in, well, they're gonna fucking roll this dice, man.
Yeah.
We've seen it happen twice now. Do you want to see it happen a third time? Like
They do want to see it.
They do.
Crazy
Listen,
thing. Yeah.
This Democratic Party, I will fucking be completely honest with you. If Trump, you know, musing over the weekend about a third term, if Trump in 2027 says, you know what, I will run for a third term, the Democrats will be like, well, guys, we got to get everything. We got to beat him this time. You know, at no point will they say like, you can't do that, sir. They'll say, hey, get those fundraising emails out. Do you have $5 to beat Trump?
Exactly.
Like these freaks, they know. They know they just made $1 billion. Kamala Harris just banked off of nothing. And now she's in Australia this week giving fucking pep talks to real estate developers. You know? Like these people believe in nothing. She's cashing in on $1 million speaking fees halfway across the fucking world because they don't care if we live or die. All right?
Hell yeah,
None
dude.
of them.
Get that bag, girl.
God,
Let's
man.
go.
These people are fucking demons.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, there's only one way out of this. And that's, you know, you got Chuck Schumer. And like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries. And this is where it's like you can tell like the Democratic Party is in real deep shit because so much of them is just operating off of, you know, and like, Carville's literally keeps saying it. Don't do anything. They will hate Trump enough to vote for you.
Incredible.
And like, it's like, motherfucker, like wrong. They're just not going to fucking vote.
They're just not going to come out at all. You gotta start pandering that swing voter. Look at those polls right now, okay? Republicans, 25% of them hate Canadians. You better start courting that fucking swing voter electorate right now, Dems, all right? Better start saying unkind things about people from Alberta. You dumb fucking assholes. Like, get your shit together. Just offer people real solutions.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's the thing is that where with the Democrats there is no core, there is no actual ideological center. There's just we're not the Republicans, and that shit loses. You know what I'm saying? That just sucks. Like that sucks shit. It's insufficient politics for the material conditions that working class people are going through, and we don't got the time. Like people just don't have the time to worry about this bullshit of like, oh, we gotta fight for democracy. Like democracy isn't paying the rent. It's not getting the fucking doctor bills paid. It's not getting like time off to even like have your back stop hurting before you got to do shift number 2. Like these things are completely outside of the politics of the mainstream Democrats, and they will continue to lose. You know, if they continue, keep going down this path. Yeah,
it's, I don't know. And that's why we need brave fighters like Cory Booker.
Yeah, well, and I'm sorry, because like the next thing is like where like you've got the mass layoffs. The one thing that we got like was like the actual like the effects of like, hey, you just fired a bunch of people who do research on like tracking disease, like the people who upkeep some of these like national parks and stuff like that. Like we're just making a even more dangerous world for ourselves.
Yeah.
And like, that's the thing that it's like, you could say, hey, these jobs are losing out and like these towns are going to be fucked over with losing that economic base.
Yeah.
You know, what type of just like insane, like viral disease that's going to be spreading because, you know, there's no one checking the fucking sardine cans to make sure there's nothing growing in them anymore.
Going
you
back
know,
to
these are the things.
Sinclair's The Jungle, man. Let's go.
Yeah, we can't predict this shit, and and good thing Cory Booker's here to fight for us.
Hell yes, that's what I've been saying. You know, him and Adam Schiff trading off on each other. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Saying the things that are right. I didn't understand this morning when I saw it, you know, and I saw that Cory Booker had been going off all night. I was like, oh, did I miss out on like a big bill coming in that are they filibustering right now? Is that what's happening? No, this is just the airing of grievances against not even an effective political maneuver. It's just him airing grievances against fucking Donald Trump.
Yes.
You know? And so if you're going to do that, you know what? Do it the entire session. Okay? From now until the end of the fucking year. Just sit there and continue doing this shit every day.
Yeah.
Just stop them. Just stop them from like having any progress whatsoever.
And that's like where it's like literally same shit where it's like I was like going to bed and like that's when I saw like an alert of like Cory Bush takes to the Senate floor and protest Trump, and it's like, well, what do you fucking mean, dog?
Yeah, what's he doing? Sorry, what is he solving here?
Yeah,
you know?
and he's just, you know, like they're just taking up the Senate floor. You know, you keep speaking, you know, another business comes to the floor or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, okay, well, look at the schedule. Are you willing to do this until July?
Yes, like
where
that's
like
it.
the debt ceiling is going to be up. Are you willing to do this till September?
Yeah.
Where they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like the time was a few weeks ago. The budget bill? No,
absolutely.
You don't remember this? Chucky Schumer, right? We will win.
Yeah.
And then vote for the budget, right? Like that thing, you don't remember? That was the time.
Yeah. Now we're done already. They got their money. Doge already got their funding, man. Like, we're here. We're here now. Yeah. It's just, like, I don't know. It's obviously like performative, right? Like, and I think the perfect like synthesis of that, the perfect understanding of that is I saw a liberal influencer earlier and they were talking about it and they were like, Cory Booker is on track now to make one of the longest filibusters, and then in parentheses it says technically not a filibuster because it's not filibustering a bill, but still giving a speech. The longest ever was by Strom Thurmond at 24 hours and 18 minutes. And I just think it would be a nice gesture if he overtook that mark. And it's like, and that's it. They just care about the aesthetic of like being number one, being the fucking record holder in speaking the longest, you know, in Congress.
It's amazing.
Not actually doing anything, not being worthwhile, not helping the American fucking people as this monstrous fascist tears through every facet of their fucking like daily lives. No, it's the aesthetic of like no longer having this fucking segregationist holding the record for like filibustering.
But that's the thing though, right? Strom Thurmond would still hold the record.
Correct. Yes.
For the longest filibuster because they're not even doing that.
RBG resisting. Like that's all they know.
I honestly, it's like I hear some of these things and I feel like I don't know how to work my own body. Like this, it's just like some people have figured out a way to derive energy, you know, from just literal nothingness. And I was like, I have to eat food. I have to drink water. I have to sleep. And these people are just able to just like soak up nothing.
Yeah.
And then still just operate their, maybe, you know, I'm a faulty human. Yeah. You know, maybe I just need too much. I should be expecting less. They're hopped up
on West Wing, man. Like it's just big speeches. That's it. That is
literally
the, you know,
it.
Like I said, whilst we were away, I was in one of my, you know, like neighborhood, like group chats or whatever, trying to inspire people, obviously, to community change because someone was like, there's no big fucking rallies here, you know, we're not marching and like yelling about things. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, in the interim, you know, what we could do is Food Not Bombs needs people every single Sunday to help distribute and volunteer. And they were like, well, I'm more of a boots on the ground person. And I'm like, no, you're more of a person that needs to like hit that release valve and then you can go back to fucking watching like Harry Potter. All right. That's the type of person you are. And what I need you to do is stop and like actually invest in like the mechanisms of change that will provide for like these dual power structures outside of the system that's failing us. Right.
Now,
You need to stop being filled by empty calories.
How is making food for people not boots on the ground? I wasn't aware of the no boots policy at Food Not Bombs. Sneakers only.
Sneakers only. You know, it's just like, but that's it, man. Like so many people are fed off of like nothing.
Nothing.
You know, like they're just like holding on to the aesthetic of what should be good and right. They are holding on to those RBG pens that say resist. Like they have nothing else. They don't understand like what like actual power could look like.
Yeah, and I, honestly, it's like I don't know. You know, like as far as where a lot of these like normie libs. And I mean, like, God bless it. You know, it's like being there to like just say like this is something we can do, and that's the thing that's tough is that there isn't a nationwide movement where that like a lot of these types of things are like connected. Yeah. And that's, you know, that is what's like needs to be built. And I think it is being built. I think that, you know, like the left in the United States, it's just not really codified on a national level, you know, but there's so much work on the ground, but not wearing boots, right? But there's so much work on the ground that is a part of the, you know, the grander thing, and connecting those dots is something, that like eventually is some type of like national movement, and like, you say like some, you know, some type of party or just some type of national organization that's able to kind of connect these different issues. And really in replacing the Democratic Party is that the thing that's completely gone away from those types of things. But yeah, that's how these things happen. And like, you know, I think for reasons, right, of there's been, you know, McCarthyism and the targeting of, you know, black radicals and, you know, all of these things that have left the United States devoid of a working class politic, you know, that's, you know, I don't know. That's just the only way out of here. You know, that's the only way out. And it's just sucks shit that you've got, you know, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and then so many others beneath them that are just unable to recognize what is actually happening and the response that's necessary. Because the idea, when they talk, well, if we shut down the government, then Trump is going to be able to pick and choose who federal workers are. And it's like, if there's a government shutdown, at that point, all federal jobs are locked in, you know, but as of right now, as we mentioned earlier, they're just purging thousands of federal workers by the day.
Correct.
And you gave them the green light.
Absolutely. He said, well, hey, listen, we gotta listen. People are gonna be out on the Donald Trump guy soon. And he's right. Listen, Chuck Schumer is right, but not in the way that he thinks. You know, like it is going to make people on both sides just more apathetic to this entire fucking system. All right.
Yeah.
It's not, you are not robbing the fucking Republican Party of voting power. You are destroying like the belief that is left in these hollow, fragile fucking systems that you like continue to operate within, you know?
Yeah. This idea that it's like, well, we're not the guy who kicked your ass. We're just the guy who watched.
Right. Like,
right? Like how, what? Yeah, you did. You watched me get my shit kicked in.
Yeah. Like you need to be there to, you know, like to soften the blow, to help these people. And instead, you're just like, all I can do is bear witness to the evils that are happening, you know?
Yeah, yell at you that voting has consequences.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
all I can do is be there every week on Friday, remarking that egg prices still haven't gone down because of Trump.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do for you.
Pathetic.
Just a disgusting fucking opposition party that needs to be fucking rooted out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's wild. Well, how long do you think he's going to go for, though?
Here's the thing. I think he's got a lot of road left. It's only Tuesday, right? If he keeps going, he can at least make it until the Nintendo Direct tomorrow. You know, if he can make it till 9 a.m. tomorrow, he can stop just in time to watch the Switch 2 presentation. So
what are we getting first, GTA 6 or Cory Booker stops talking?
Mario Kart 9 tomorrow. He's got to be excited for that. I know him and his girlfriend have to play. You know?
Hell yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I honestly, like, that's where it's like, I feel that like lib shit you're talking about. I gotta guess he is going to beat like Strom Thurmond by 1776 seconds.
Yeah,
and he's gonna it's like be carried off with the American flag draped around his shoulders or some shit like that.
Incredible stuff. Yeah, it's so stupid. We have such a stupid like idea of, you know, he's anointing himself right now to be like the top spot in 2028. Like, this is it. This is the moment he became president, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God, Van Jones is just in tears right now.
So patriotic. He said the Democrats aren't working hard enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God.
Stupid.
Jeez, it's very dumb. It is very dumb.
We'll revisit next week and talk about the havoc the tariffs have wreaked so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, silver linings, you know, at the very least, there should be some type of, you know, marketed goods that are going to be much, much cheaper by next week that we can be excited about.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, with the stock market going down, you know, the burgers are going to be cheaper than ever.
Yeah, that's how it works, you know? Yeah. It's going to be amazing. Finally, promises made by this administration, promises adhered to.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well,
but no, seriously, we got to do the silver linings thing. Did you forget? We got to do this every end of every show.
No, I know. What do you want?
Oh, okay.
What's your silver lining?
Mine, cheap burgers. No, I think the like you said there, and like this is it's frustrating and it sucks, and this is something that I think a lot of people had spoken to as to the response, you know, to fascism, you know, and yeah, well, seeing that like it's not the Democratic Party, you know, dare I say it's not even Bernie or AOC, you know, but those like the town halls, you know, where people are just like giving like all sorts of them the business. But then, yeah, you know, it's like there is an increase in organizing as far as like, you know, a myriad of different, you know, groups that are on the left. And I think it's just, while there's like so much like just bullshit that like we know is coming, yeah, you know, forever hope in the people and the growing orgs that are going to be actually doing something, putting boots on the ground, like feeding people, and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, it seems like it'd be a winding road out of this shit.
Yeah, it's true. You want mine now?
Yes,
I'm ready.
Go.
I gotta say, a lot of potential silver linings, but the real one, LSU beating NC State, baby. Let's go.
Oh, damn. Sports
the upset.
My bracket's busted.
Yeah. I was back in LSU the entire time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The poly market bets.
Yeah, I'm just anti anything coming out of North Carolina. So
good.
My silver. I don't know. My silver lining has just been I've been doing more in my own community and feeling good about it, man. We had people setting up markets for Trans Day of Visibility over the weekend, and I spent a couple hours volunteering, helping people set up their tents and stuff. And I don't know, like I said, I think you change your worldview when you get more involved in your community. It's a very good, like, healing thing that can make you realize, like, how many kind of people exist around you. I think that's the great trap, in this fucking nation, is people being, feeling incredibly isolated, and it doesn't have to be that way. Like, there's so many, like, points that you can kind of invest in your community and find ways to help other people that feel just as isolated as you do. And I don't know, that shit's it feels nice.
And speaking of it, is like in one good way that you might be able to find some community is people should check out the Encampments documentary. And this is the documentary that Mahmoud Khalil, who was disappeared by ICE for speaking against the U.S. involvement in a genocide. But this is a documentary that he's in, and it goes over, it's just over the encampments across the nation that happened on college campuses and the repression that was ensued. But that you got to check on, like, different, like, independent theaters and stuff like that there's going to be screening, because I know, like, where I'm at, there's one going to be in a few days. So
yeah,
check that out. Make sure if you see, show it some love as you can. Maybe in some of these organizing groups that you're in, you could do a little fun day to the movie theater. So yeah. Just wanted to PSA that out there.
Yeah, get people interested in what struggle looks like. Yeah.
The movement.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, as long as there's electricity here in the States by next week, I think we'll be returning.
Yeah. As long as everything hasn't completely broken down, we good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hit all the things we've returned from our respective vacations and absences. It'll be full steam ahead.
ManCon Season 2.
That's right. Back soon. Take care.
Peace.